Hey, IDS 302. Um, Welcome to Module 6, Video 2. It's Wednesday, February 17th at about 9:30, 9:20. I just finished the 301 video, and I'm not even stopping to think. I'm going to get this one out there for you as soon as I can. Let me get into my notes here. I'm going to include some links this time because I saw something interesting in terms of research. I think you might remember when I talked about um, the conversation, that website and that emails I was getting about academic rigor, journalistic flair. So I got something here that this was from you know you can look at that quickly. I'll send you the link, but it says 46,218 news transcripts show ideologically extreme politicians get more airtime. Okay, and this is true on both sides of the spectrum. So I read it, and it says, it talks about study, and because there was another blurb. New Republican congressman prioritizes punditry over policy. What that means is that uh, Representative Madison Cawthorn has built his congressional team with communications, not governing. Okay, so it's exactly what Mike Pence recommended him to do. Now, again, I'm not going to judge politically here. I'm just saying that this is, we go back to when I was in high school, and I had a class called communications media or something like that. And this is 1975. I think I was a junior, 74, 75. What kind of media did we have, right? Back then, we had newspapers. We had AM radio, FM radio, and newspapers. We had three channels on TV, maybe four if you count PBS or an independent network. But there was a guy named Marshall McLuhan who you might know if you're in communication. He's a very iconic figure in communication world. He his meme was his thing was the medium is the message. The medium is the message, and that was kind of drilled into us. So it was more or less, how it's delivered, where it's delivered, the message. That's truly the message, and it's an interesting concept to kind of analyze. But so here we've been talking back then about these things. So here you're trying to get a message across, whether a politician, whatever. You need people trained in communications to understand. Now, can that be abused, misused, propagandized? Of course, from anyone. Okay, but again, as consumers of knowledge, to be aware of this helps you to be discerning and understand what some of these tactics are. Okay, as you go through things. So then it takes me to this Journal of Communication, right? Okay, I'll conclude that link too. So the Journal of Communication has from the December 2019, volume 69, issue 6, as seen on TV, how gatekeeping makes the US House seem more extreme. So they're talking about having gone through all these articles and things like that to understand this. Again, this is just the link for the Journal of Communication. That would have to be, you probably get it through ASU's library. You can't get it through here unless you're paying for it, I guess. But I thought that was interesting in terms of, again, using research to understand our world that goes on, what we're being confronted with, what we uh, see day to day, and how we deal with it. Okay, I know the latest thing going on is in terms of the weather. I think I heard in Texas, Governor Connolly, I guess, was on the news talking about this was what was going to be like if there's a Green New Deal. And I'm sure you sustainability students know that's not true, as well as the fact that it's pretty much, I hope Texans, really look at this, why this happened, how this happened. They're on their own energy grid. Again, it takes more than just throwing out profundities about politics. How is Texas energy set up? It's an independent kind of thing. El Paso and the western part are part of the western grid on the United States. The rest of the country is on an eastern grid. Texas proper didn't want to be on anybody's grid. Okay, in fact, 2 weeks ago they're talking about seceding, but now they need our help. Okay, so this is where science can help if we can get through the politics. Oh, California is, fires because they're not raking the forest, because laser beams are doing. I mean, we have to have science and some facts to help dictate things, and I hope that's where you're headed too. All right, so let's do Easter egg number one right away, and that is integration is the process. You remember that one, right? Integration is the process. That's what we're doing here, okay? So I changed some things around, okay? This is intention to help you out, to help me out, to help us all out, so that you are not totally losing it, stressing over this course, and that you can complete it. Hopefully your situation isn't going to get that dire, and if it is, take care of your situation. Contact me when you can. In fact, some people who need to hear this can't because they're on the internet right now, but I want to just let everybody know that I'm going to remain flexible, and we'll talk on a case by case basis. Okay, so looking at module 6 that we are in, I've made some changes. Okay, first of all, the step 3 annotated bibliography is now due by Sunday the 21st. Okay. The discussion peer-reviewed sources is now due Saturday the 20th. So Saturday and Sunday. From last week, I'm moving to Saturday, Sunday. No questions asked. Do the work if you want to, and submit your step 3. Okay. Note that everyone who's doing the work in this class is passing most really well. Okay. The problem is if you're not doing the work, right? So your survey link, I'm making that due on Sunday. Okay. The thing is, we have 13 days to go, I believe, in the class. So you have to get that data. You have to get that survey link done. Sooner the better, honestly. Okay, don't wait till the last day, please. Because if you wait till the last day and you send it to me to look at, I mean, like I said, just think about your time. If you have it, if you don't have the time because of the situation you're in, the conditions, then we've got to look at some things, okay? Because the course ends March 2nd. There's really nothing I can do about that, okay? Tanner step 4, I have that due on the 24th now, okay? I think that should help you. I don't want to squeeze everything too much here, but step 4 is important. The survey, getting that out is important so that you can get some data and start working on that. That would theoretically then leave you, 6 days after that to get the rest done. Okay, now there's a discussion board in Module 7 called Reflecting on IDS. I took it out, canceled it. Okay, there were 30 points there. So what I did is I made the final paper 200 points, which is jacked up 50, but I took Tanner step 4 down 20 points to make it 80. Reason being, my reasoning on that was that I think people are getting squeezed right now, especially with step 3 and all that and the sources. So I want you to do a good job on step 4, but I'm keeping the points lower so it's less costly to anybody. And then hopefully for the final paper, which is due March 2nd, you'll have plenty of time, plenty of good weather, plenty of recourse to do a fine job on that, and it's going to be worth 200 points. So that's how I kind of balanced that out. All right. I took away an assignment. I didn't add anything. I just did some points maneuvering there, and then I switched around some due dates. I apologize if it seems confusing. It's in Canvas, but it's all meant as a benefit and as an objective of flexibility and empathy for the weather thing. I went through 38 Wisconsin winters before I moved here, and it's no picnic when things get extreme, And then you have the pandemic too. It's not cool, dude. All right, so Easter egg number 2, IDS is the field. All right, see where I'm going with this? So then, all right, so for step 4, I did clean things up a little bit. Where is it? Here it is. There is a sample in the submission page for it, and that sample. Okay, so look at there's a running head, there's a title, restatement of purpose. Okay, so take a look at that. Anthropological perspective. This is where she's now taking her 3 concentrations, disciplines, and summarizing each one, the perspective of each one. Okay, she's got sources here they're being cited in each one. Okay, note that every one of them has at least a citation, maybe more. So she's got sociological, anthropological, psychological, and then she's got patterns, connections, and common ground. This is what you could see in Tanner, of course, in the readings, and they're going to talk about that. Then the areas of conflict. This is where I was talking about doubling your work if you did 4. So you'll notice area of conflict. You can see page 32 in Tanner. She's got to do anthropological versus psychological, anthropological versus sociological, and then sociological versus psychological. If you have another discipline in there, you got to do 3 more sections. Okay? So, for no benefit. That's why I recommend keeping it down. Save it for grad school. Okay? She's got a relatively brief on the conflicts in that. Okay, so now there's new understanding, potential resolutions. Okay, I mean, I'm just imagining what I'm going to get when I see this. Primary data collection. Let's talk about this. I changed some things around for her because she talked too much about qualitative, which I didn't want, so I made sure it was quantitative. That looks good. That looks good. Okay, and then there is a works cited list impeccably formatted. So I'd like you to look at this sample and get her done. So I think things are moving along real well for everyone, for most everyone. I know things got bogged down because of this weather, I think. So that I'm looking at right now, like I said, some people won't even. So after step 2, things get pretty murky. The peer-reviewed sources got done pretty well, but again, I'm keeping that open. The discussion becoming an interdisciplinarian. One student had already done it to get ahead, I'm sure, which is fine, but I eliminated that discussion. So we'll deal with that in a minute. Survey link, a couple people are posting them. What I'd like you to do is maybe this weekend, when hopefully there'll be more links here on Sunday, Monday at the latest, do the surveys, take the surveys, okay? Annotated bibliography. Oh no, I'm sorry. The discussion becoming interdisciplinarian. Wait a second. Oh no, I did take that one down, I think. I also, oh God, I'm so freaked out. This is really just like teaching on the fly. I did take out a discussion reflecting on IDS. That's the one I had to move points around with. Let me see. I had to change around IDS 301 also, and they do a lot more smaller assignments. Yeah, it's not there. So I'm going to re-add these points, but to my knowledge, you've got at least 1,000. You probably have 1,015 points. That's to your benefit. So let me know if you have questions. Let me know if you have any issues with formatting. I think you're doing really well. I think it's, like I said, my opinion is that under the conditions that we've been facing here with the pandemic and now weather vortex, polar vortex, it would seem that, let me see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay, so basically, if you're doing the work, you're passing or much better. If you're not doing the work, you're not. It's a pretty simple equation then, right? So it's not the work, the quality of work, it's the lack of work submitted, right? Just to make that clear. Okay, so I'm really happy with where you're going on your projects here. So let me know. I'm going to get out of here. 16 minutes almost. Let's do Easter egg number 3, and then I'll explain something about that. Well, I'm not gonna. I mean, let me just talk first because some people hear Easter egg number 3 are going to shut it off, and I want you to hear this. Remember, I like you got through 301, you go through 302. You're applying this interdisciplinary stuff, and you're figuring out that through me, I guess, to try to emphasize and hammer that IDS equals integration, right? And that IDS is the field and integration is the process, right? So I had Easter egg number 1 is integration as a process. Easter egg number 2 is IDS is the field. These aren't absolutes, but they're easy ways to hardwire yourself so that you can explain this and leverage it in your careers, in your jobs, in your work, in your personal life, right? So Easter egg number 3 is IDS equals integration. That's that equation that is not always perfect, but it gives you that starting point to describe, define, and defend what you're doing being an interdisciplinarian, that you are much better positioned to analyze problems and phenomena, analyze them, research them, critique them, because you have learned techniques and processes and have been given permission, which is not an easy thing to do from your academic field, permission to explore where you need to explore. Okay. You go in psychology alone, you don't got permission to be starting to mess around with sociology and engineering. Who do you think you are? Okay. You have to stay in your lane. Here we're driving all over the place. It's like Phoenix. All right. Have a good one. I hope everybody's doing well. Forks up. Peace.